Hi, my name's Sean Shaler. That's my friend and co-host Jesse Lobbs. That's our friend and this week's guest and next week's guest, because we record twice, Ian Hartford. Welcome to PokéMalarkey. PokéMalarkey. I've done that before. Episode 4, the only Pokemon podcast in the world, limited to 35-ish minutes, based on the free version of Zoom. Ian, thanks for joining us on the show. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Welcome,
You're the
Ian.
one person that has viewed us with any regularity at all, so thanks for being the fan. I always say
what I
mom
can.
jokingly, but I know in seriousness, I know it's you.
Ian. It's Ian. Mom is just code for Ian on this podcast.
It's-
So thanks, Mom.
I'm probably just going to start saying hi to all of our previous guests. So on future episodes, I'll be like, hey, Ian and Neil, I know you guys watch it because you were on it, so you had to watch at least one. Jesse, how are you doing today? I can't just ask Ian only. Hey, Jesse, how you doing?
I am doing splendid. I am tipsy as all get out. I am living my best life this evening.
Same,
So-
man. Hey, check it out. My koozie. My koozie lights up. Huh? Yeah,
Oh.
magical.
Sean and I are really different people, folks, if you can't figure that out.
But we're both Midwesterners at heart.
Look at this pour. I'm awesome. I'm just here. I'm not a Midwesterner.
A
There you
fun
go.
fact about Ian that I hope he doesn't mind me sharing: he is allergic to hops, so he likes to inject alcohol straightly. He snorts it. Actually,
I have to.
he snorts 90% isopropyl alcohol to get a buzz.
Have
all I
you
can do.
considered injecting?
It's
Does that
just
Hey,
right
I
Neil
should try
bloodstream.
that.
just straight to the veins.
Straight to the
Mainlining,
bloodstream.
That's what it is.
Okay,
There you go.
mainly.
That-
It's not illegal drugs. It's still just alcohol, but the way
still
that you're
just
going to take
alcohol.
them in is a little frowned upon. Okay, just once you get past that, it's going to be fine. Ian, instead
we
of
really
talking
should
about
stop demonizing people who inject beer into their bloodstream. That's all I'm saying.
instead
Welcome,
of
Ian. Welcome.
Well, let's just just put it in one of those bags, and I'll just have it on me at all times.
I don't see why. Get the little IV. Just inject it right in there. I think our Midwestern forefathers would be so proud.
Finally, science is doing some good in the world. It's about time.
So, Ian, let's talk about this children's TV show instead of injecting alcohol into your veins. Whatever. That's a great discussion. Ian, would you mind telling us what your earliest experiences with Pokemon are? Not PokéMalarkey. And then-
PokéMalarkey was what, like 3 weeks ago?
yeah, is that your first experience Pokemon? No, I said it on the previous recording that we totally fucked up and then we had to redo it. I'll say it again on this one, is that Ian is far more experienced, sort of front to back, in terms of like Pokemon as an entire franchise, as Jesse and I are. So I think we got a lot to learn
He's
from
an
him.
expert.
Ian,
So-
what's your origin story?
Well, I got it whenever Red first came out on Game Boy back in, what was that, 96, 97?
I got it in my notes. I can try to find
Yeah, I was 10 years old. Played the shit out of it. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. It took me forever to beat, but I just went one right after the other as soon as they came out. And I'm currently playing Sword and Shield. Actually, it's right there.
Good news. I just got Shield, and I believe Jesse has Shield as well. Is that
I
right?
have Shield too. That's right.
Awesome.
I just traded for Shield, so I can finally join the fun. Ian, 1996. Does that sound about right? It's February 96.
Yeah.
Do you think you got it in that first, like, were you
I
kind
got
of
it
part of the
within
initial?
first. I think I got it on my birthday, so it was out. I got it later, around October, I believe.
And then
I believe I
thi-
got the whole thing, Game Boy and that game, for my birthday.
Oh, nice. That's a
Nice.
killer birthday.
My
Heck,
birthday was the same. I got the whole shebang in one blow, and I
Yeah.
was very excited.
I had to share with my brother from a garage sale. What a load of crap. But hey, I started with Crystal, which is, I believe, objectively the best Pokemon. But just my opinion.
I hate when you always do that objectively.
No,
as
no,
if
that's
it
Neil.
is
Neil always does
on
that.
my
Don't-
opinion.
No, don't confuse me with Neil. We're very different approaches to arguing with people.
This is a fact.
This is a fact. Okay. So I like Pokemon before we started having to do the breeding and things like that. And in Crystal, you kind of get the first 2 regions and the whole slate of Pokemon. So I really do believe, like, for us old timers, at least, I think Chris Chris. I don't know who Chris is. Crystal is probably the best, but I could be wrong. Hey, what's your favorite Pokemon game? Go ahead, give me your favorite one.
Wasn't there breeding in that version?
I don't think there's breeding in Crystal, right?
You get an egg at the beginning.
But you just raise it.
Yeah, but you can put
You have the
two
daycare center.
Yeah, you can put 2 in the daycare center, and
That Sean, I don't know if we need to have
Did
a
I-
birds and the bees talk with you, but that's breathing.
No, Jesse, the stork dropped it off on my front door, and then I left it at the daycare, and it grew into a Pokemon. There's no breeding.
yep,
The stork
but
came.
There is breeding.
all
No,
Pokemon
that's what it was.
all Pokemon sex is censored heavily.
The Storkmon came. That's a good question. Ian, what's your favorite Pokemon game? What's your favorite so far?
Probably either Silver or like Ruby or Sapphire.
Okay.
Both of those have my favorite like tie for Pokemon in them.
Tell us.
So from Silver, I to this day still love Scizor, and then Swampert is probably my go-to end all be all.
Okay.
Just
That's great.
Solid. Jesse, what about you? What's your favorite game?
Oh, my favorite game will forever and always be Gold. Pokemon Gold. I just loved so much. I think part of it was the feeling of having played, Red, Blue, and then Yellow to death, as much as I could, and then getting Gold was just the most exciting next thing that could ever happen to me, and nothing has matched that level of excitement in my life.
So
And then
I'm just
getting
going to
to
point
go
out then,
back
though,
that
so,
area.
Silver, Gold, and Crystal, like, we all like the same game best. So I might be an asshole when I pretend to say things objectively, but on this podcast, objectively 3 for 3 correct.
Same gen. We all like the same generation.
Yes, one
Go
expert,
forever.
one expert, one intellectual, and me all agree, whatever me is. And then Ian, I know I'm probably running over my intended time here, but just one more quick question: your favorite starter Pokemon from any game?
Yeah.
And like, what's your go-to
That's a
starter
good
in any game?
It would have to be Mudkip because of what he turns into.
Fair enough. I dig it.
Mudkip is,
Good choice.
and he's so freaking cute too. He just
is.
a little whatever he is, like dog, fish, frog thing.
It's a pretty cute. It's a pretty cute name too. Really, just Mudkip. It just sounds like a fun little, like a buddy.
Yeah.
Sounds like a best friend.
And then the best part, Marshtomp, his second evolve on Pokemon Go. If you bring him out as a buddy and he runs around, he does the Naruto run where he puts his arms behind him and starts running around. It's
That's
the
amazing. I gave up on Pokemon Go
Aerodynamics.
fairly early into the cycle because we moved, and so I fell out of it. So I missed out on some of the charisma that Pokemon Go added to characters, which is a shame.
Yeah, I go back to it every once in a while, just go
I do
on to
too.
it every day, catch something, and then see what's going on. And
Yeah.
I don't really go around and hunt all the stops or anything. I'm not that too into it.
It's a nice casual.
I was back in the joy of 2016 when it first came out, and it
The world
all-
was united. at
Yeah.
that- Well,
all of a sudden there was some joy, and you could just feel it.
another
And
then it
election
was
year. What we
rapidly
needed
crushed.
was a new Pokemon in that
There you go.
election year. We did.
That should
Uh,
just be a requirement. If we're gonna have an election year, I should at least get a Pokemon out of it.
If we have to put up with this shit ruining every other facet of life, give us good Pokemon. World changing. It was really nice. You'd go to parks and everybody be walking around parks and like, hey, there's this over there. There's like, it was really nice. I loved it.
Now you go to parks, you just get infected. So
It's you get the Rona. It's terrible. You get the Rona and people lecture you about political things. It's terrible.
Not a fan of those Pokemon.
I keep going on tangents and ruining our perfectly laid plan of staying within Zoom's 40-minute time allotment. Jesse, would you care to? I know it's a horrible allotment. Jesse, would you care to run us through this week's episode, and then we'll crap on it a little bit, and then we'll talk just a little bit of games and manga at the end.
Yes. In my my brain deadness, for some reason I thought I was going to be recapping last week's episode, which on reflection makes no sense at all. So forgive me. About
Last
my
week on
extemporaneous-
PokéMalarkey.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a dumbass. So this week's episode is episode 4. It's Challenge of the Samurai. We're still stuck in Viridian Forest. It ends with Ash luckily getting a Metapod because Caterpie gets enough experience to become a Metapod, and Misty is still a bug, so no go for Misty.
Misty, you asshole.
But as we're going through Viridian Forest, Ash has to encounter a young man who calls himself Samurai. And just like those characters you meet in the games, this is somebody who has no skill, no talent, but yet thinks they are the hottest piece of shit who's ever lived. And is walking around Viridian Forest in samurai garb because
Why not?
Comfortable, right?
It's comfortable, chic, fashion forward. It's what you would wear to a forest that's inhabited by bugs.
Literally every person Ash runs into is just an arrogant piece of shit.
That's true. But to be fair, it fits Ash.
Brock, we'll get to it next time / next week. Brock is like the first decent person that
That's true.
Ash meets. It's good for him.
But in Viridian Forest, he meets the samurai. They try to have a battle. And their battle ends up being, 2 teenage boys having an argument about whose Metapod is hardest. Only 2 pubescent boys would have an argument about which creature they have is harder.
Very locker roomy. Very locker
I'm just
room-esque.
saying. And of course, all the yelling, the arguments wakes up the Beedrill swarm, which swoops in and happens to kidnap Metapod. And Ash, in his Ashness, leaves Metapod to be abducted by Beedrill. Of course, Samurai rightfully points out, you're an asshole for leaving Metapod abducted by Beedrill. And Ash, feeling bad, does the thing Ash does. He goes to try to retrieve it. Team Rocket's there. They get in the way. But Ash has a beautiful heart-to-heart with Metapod where he admits that, yes, I do suck and I am terrible, but I will try to be better in the future. And because Ash saves Metapod, Metapod in turn saves Ash when the Beedrill swoop down upon him. And Metapod, because he does that, gets enough experience that he becomes what Caterpie in the previous episode wanted more than anything, to become a beautiful Butterfree, so that maybe, just maybe, Misty would love him.
Do you guys remember Bug's Life, the movie that we all liked for like a year?
I did.
Yeah.
And Heimlich is, I'm a beautiful butterfly.
That's Butterfree.
Yeah, that's him. You all look like tiny ants from way up here. Sorry for that. I don't know why I needed to interject that.
I
Gay
do.
Pixar.
And now I'm just going to imagine Butterfree with a German accent. So that's why, Sean. Thank you for that. I
I'm
didn't
a
need
beautiful
that.
butterfly. Sleep powder, come on. I don't know. I gotta flap my wings every time I say it.
Anyway, so that is Challenge of the Samurai. So I think, Ian, you're the guest. Thoughts? First things first.
This episode pisses me off
You're damn right it does.
so freaking much because Ash, like as much as I hate Ash, he does such a good job battling that Weedle and getting him down. And then this little effer comes up and distracts him so that Weedle can, like, I don't know, use a potion or something. Somehow he gets enough oomph that he crawls away.
He must
And
have
then
had
the
a
Sam-
berry,
the guy-
Ian.
What?
He must have had a
He had a
berry.
berry. Yeah, he's
Must have
holding
had a
it.
berry. Must have been holding a berry.
He injected the berry straight into his veins like it was a beer.
Yeah, but then
shut
the
off.
samurai guy, he comes and just says, "Oh, you suck." That's how he got away. No, he was literally about to throw the ball at him, and he had to come up and flash his sword and try and cut his head off. That seems like assault.
Flashing a sword,
It isn't
Metapod
so-
hardened contest. This episode's got a lot of like under the rug kind of messages going on to it here.
Don't wheedle me into sexual innuendo, Sean. Don't
Jesse,
do it.
That is literally my goal in life.
I've been
is to do
waiting for
exactly
that.
that.
Use Weedle as a verb in this one episode. I would like to point out, though, that even if we think Ash is doing relatively okay, he had a moment where he goes, a great Pokemon trainer like me, and then goes, oh yeah, I forgot. I have to weaken this Pokemon before I catch it.
Okay.
Good job, Ash.
And I feel so bad for him because I know he leaves the Metapod, but then the little samurai shit's like, shame on him. What do you want me to commit suicide by? Do you know how big a Beedrill is? They're like 2.5 feet or something, or 4 feet. Yeah.
I looked this up. No, actually, it's 3 feet tall, which is terrifying.
So he's saying that instead of leaving this Pokemon that you found in the wild and that can survive in the wild to survive this difficult situation so you can save yourself, why don't you go fight these horde of 3-foot flying bees to try to save a cocoon?
I will confess, I would leave Metapod to the Beedrill.
I would leave Metapod.
He's
going to be fine. He's going to use Harden, and he's going to be fine. Oh, crap. Ian, your volume stopped working. Okay, Ian, real quick, just restart your computer. If you can hear me, restart your computer right now, and we're going to keep rolling, and you just restart it and jump back in the call with the same info. Can you give that a try?
Okay.
Folks, we're sorry for the technical difficulties. It's not Ian's fault. It's 2020. It's hashtag 2020. That's what
Everything's terrible. It's just a curse.
Jesse,
I would like to point out
can we continue complaining without Ian? Is that cool?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I would like to point out, though, at least in this episode, the samurai is a really good representation of the people you fight in all of the games. Because every single person you encounter is always like, I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the greatest bug catcher there ever was. Blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, they suck because you're better than them. So at least it's realistic, The samurai thing.
He clearly came. Like I mention, I harp on all the time that the games came first. He clearly just came from the games. Like he has no longer bearing or anything like that.
But it's very strange because I thought about this, and I have my little Pokeball here with me as just for kicks, shits, and gigs.
It's adorable, is what that shit is.
The samurai thing, like, it's Japan. It's based in Japan, sure, but it's not like there are actual people dressed in samurai costumes walking around fucking Japanese.
Yeah,
forest.
nobody does
That's
that.
not realistic.
Ian, I think I heard you.
Okay, so I switched it to my camera's audio because I don't know what is going on with these headphones.
And I'm sorry it keeps doing it. And again, I don't think it's necessarily you. It could definitely be me. Apologies, whichever way. You sound great, though, so I think if you're okay
I'm just going to keep it on the camera one.
Perfect.
I welcome the return of Ian's sweet, dulcet tones. So
he does. He has this wizened father. I have to call out that Jesse and I don't have children, so when we're scheduling, in my mind,
God, don't do it.
So I really want kids. It's a different topic for a different day. But in my mind, it turns me into an asshole for scheduling. I'm like, all right, Ian has kids. We got to work around him because he's got a life. Me and Jesse are fine. Who is it that comes back and is like, that's too late? Who is that? Who's that person?
What the hell? Yeah.
Old and tired.
You're the youngest person here by years.
That's why I look better than both of you.
There you go.
That's the secret. That's
Jesse,
it.
I've seen tree stumps that look better than me. That's not the point.
I'm almost 32. I have back problems.
Ian is 32-year-old, handsome son. He has survived children and 2 more years of age than me, and he looks great. Ian, you look tremendous. Your hair in particular, I'm very jealous.
Thanks,
you got a tremendous wig.
We appreciate that.
Would you like to continue telling us all the things that kind of suck about this episode?
In your absence, Ian, we had mainly just assaulted the samurai.
We did. We talked crap, so you don't have to talk too much about him unless you want. We already assaulted him verbally.
Well, I already told you my thoughts on him, but here's back to where Ash sucks, is he had the chance to catch Beedrill and Kakunas and didn't take it.
Both of them!
All of them were asleep. He put them all to sleep at the very end, and he didn't catch a single one.
Not one of them! A recurring issue with Ash, might we add.
I mean, he just sucks.
Yeah, he does. And then they hide in the cabin, right? And then that kid Catholic guilt trips.
If I can just real quick say the one good thing and impressive thing for me about Samurai, this is one of the episodes that I owned on like VHS tape that I wore the fuck out because I watched it over and over and over again. I Pincer. I thought Pincer was
the best.
I forgot he had a Pincer.
Badass. I did too. I had forgotten. As I was rewatching this episode, I had all this flashback of like rewinding the VHS tape, and
there is no way that little shit legit caught a Pincer with his stupid Metapod or whatever that he threw out using Harden. I love all Pokemon equally as beings. There's no way that kid legit caught that Pincer by himself.
I would also like to point out a Pincer is almost 5 feet tall, which is also terrifying. I have been really into looking up Pokédex heights and weights, and I have really been unsettled by because it's things I found.
The heights, the weights, and the descriptions of the Pokemon are the 3 most horrifying things in the universe in several cases.
Something about it, as of course, when you watch the anime, I don't feel like, you know, it's that relative. But when I look at the Pokédex numbers, I'm like, oh god, I don't want to be in this world anymore. It's terrifying.
I think
some of those entries are pretty dark.
Absolutely messed up. There's some dead souls floating around. There's some it's jacked up. I think it evolved with the games a little bit too. You know, the earliest 150, 151, other than like Mewtwo and Mew themselves, of course, probably a little more tame, right? And I think the extremity of those descriptions evolved in insanity over time. But I could be mistaken.
Yeah, they really did.
One poor sad thing about this whole episode is that, again, Misty just wants to be reimbursed for her bike. And she's held hostage, more or less, in this terrible bug country that she has no control over. And Misty is very attracted to the bug Pokemon. She has been humped by bug Pokemon twice. Caterpie humped her leg. Now Weedle has humped her leg. And
you feel for her. She's a kid who's just scared of bugs.
The perfume she uses is very attractive to bug Pokemon.
My dog finds the person in the room that likes him the least, and he cuddles him. And I like to think it's a similar phenomenon.
My cat does the same thing.
I don't know what it is about it, but they find the people that don't like them, and they say, "Hey, I'm going to snuggle you whether you want it or not."
I think they're trying to like convert them to like them.
It's a big. They're shooting their shot. All right, it's either going to go great or it's going to backfire.
Well, as we know from last week's episode, what was Caterpie was so affected by Misty's disgust that he dreams about becoming a Butterfree. So hopefully he won't have those body issues anymore.
Poor Caterpie.
I know, it's so sad. And of course, though, luckily for him, also Pokédex Dexter is very explicit. I was surprised that he said this, but apparently, no matter what, 1 week after Caterpie evolves into Metapod, it becomes a Butterfree. And I was like, oh,
that is not game accurate.
I have grinded around with a Metapod way too long, way longer than a week. And I still do not have my Butterfree, so I should get a refund, at least.
With apologies for rushing the production, I was hoping Ian would give some final thoughts on the episode for a minute or two, and then I want to save a few minutes to talk about gameage, and a few minutes to talk about manga, even though I know there's not a ton of either.
I have a beautiful Easter egg I would like to inject really quickly.
Please.
Go ahead.
I noticed in the cabin, Ash's sleeping bag. Of course, it'd be different for the United States version, but in English, on his sleeping bag, it had the word Satoshi, as in Satoshi Tajiri, the founder, creator of Pokemon. I just thought that was neat. I had never noticed that before.
That's adorable.
Yeah, I've never noticed that. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I really dislike this episode just because of how mean Samurai is. Like, he's a bitch. He doesn't. You don't put down a new trainer like that. That's not what you do. And
with a sword.
With a sword.
With a sword.
and then you come at him with a freaking over level pincer, and like, where the hell did you even get that? You have to get that in the Safari Zone, which is like 20 episodes later.
Metapod, and then Metapod literally breaks part. This is something that frightens me in Pokemon battles when they physically break pieces of their body.
Yeah, how does
Like,
that get fixed?
That is messed. I don't know, but it's horrifying.
In
Guys,
Pokemon Blue.
The manga really goes hardcore with breaking Pokemon into pieces.
Oh no!
And I know that we're gonna get into a little bit of that in the next episode in particular, right? We get to see some graphic stuff, graphic manga stuff.
Ugh.
I think the last note I wanted to say was that I keep getting the episode names mixed up. I had Samurai Showdown. Is that the Japanese name? Have I done it again? Where
at least
Showdown in
what
Pewter City is the next one.
Yeah,
This
that's
one
the
was
next
Challenge of the Samurai.
maybe you combine.
I keep flip flopping I keep picking the Japanese name. Okay, thank you for the correction. Gameplay. I want to spend just a few minutes talking about. Ian, if you've been keeping up, Jesse and I have kind of been picking through Fire Red and Leaf Green. I don't know how dedicated we've been, but I know I'm a few stages ahead of this at least.
At our leisure.
Yeah, that's which
In our
is
busy
the best
lives.
way to play a very long JRPG. But this episode is the first time I would consider where like good actual gameplay happens. In my mind, this is the part of the game where you're going through Viridian Forest, you're fighting trainers, you're finally catching some new shit. Pikachu's, bugs. I think you can
it's
catch.
the first fun thing that happens to you because you really get the full picture. You're getting new Pokemon,
Battling,
and
catching, making money.
new trainers. It's exciting.
And you're battling a lot of trainers to where the point that you're blacking out multiple times just to try and get through this damn thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
you have zero money.
Radiant City Gym. I mean, Pokemon Center.
Yeah, you have zero money already, so you can't buy a bunch of potions. How do they expect you to get through this area?
I think Fire Red speeds it up a little bit over the original. And then I will say that I'm going to cop myself out, and that's fine. I try to be honest. I'm to an age where I use the walkthrough to see. I want to know what the highest level that a Pokemon appears in Viridian Forest. So, like Metapod and Kakunas, like they can get up to level 9 or something. It's like, I'm not catching one until it's already a level 9, because I'm not going to spend the time evolving those hardening bastards. I'm not going to do it. I'm too old. So, that saves me time.
Well, it's much easier when you get a Caterpie and then evolve it to Weedle or to Kakuna.
Where it's tackle.
It still has tackle, still has string shot and harden, and so you can still battle with it.
Yeah, fuck Harden, but it has tackle at least, and so yeah, I do go the other route. I go to level 9, and then I just put them in front of my main, and I let them have that turn.
As we learn tonight, sometimes hardening is useful.
Did we lose all that great?
Already, gentlemen.
Did we lose all that great hardening talk in the previous episode? I forget.
We might have.
We recorded one, and some bad stuff happened, and then we jumped to this one.
Folks, if that's the case,
Two
all it
young
was
boys.
me saying that, of course, two pubescent boys would have an argument about which creature of theirs can harden better than the other one, all while a female watches.
Very 12-year-old
I
cat.
wish I had a fan. I need a.
You know the phrase pissing contest. Hey, there's my
Who's
Zoom.
your timer?
There's my Zoom warning. So 10 minutes. We're doing good. You know the phrase
We're fine.
pissing contest? It's a catter peeing contest. Huh?
That's bad.
Huh?
No.
Jesse,
More
talk
like it's more like a hardening contest, which I've been there before. We've all
been there.
I'm going to say we've all been there before, but I'm thinking in a gay situation.
Yeah.
Neither of you. So all I'm saying is that pubescent boys, you never know what you're going to get.
pubescent boys are the
Everything
worst.
is sexual. It's just too much.
Pubescent boys are the worst. I think we can all agree there. Final thoughts on gameplay. Then I'm going to give Jesse a few minutes to talk about manga.
Just very briefly, I would like to point out that, again, that Viridian Forest is, at least for me, when I play Viridian Forest, one of the best things about it was I could, if I was lucky, I could nab a Beedrill in, later iterations of that region. And for me, I I prefer Beedrill to Butterfree mainly because I think Beedrill looks more badass.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
Very badass.
I'm all about aesthetics. I don't care how good you are. I'm like, you're not gonna do shit against Onyx, but I'm taking you anyway. We're
Hey,
going
that
for it.
poison typing can really help in that Onyx fight.
That is true.
Jesse digs those poison types, man. And
I do like a poison type.
Pokemon Go, you straight up, or Let's Go, Eevee and Pikachu, straight up catch a Beedrill in the forest. It's wild.
Yeah.
You don't even have to evolve that shit.
Finally, that's all I want out of my life is to just catch that final evolution and move on.
Yeah. I think I still have to catch them all. Like, I have to Pokédex them all at some point. So I still
You can
prefer
do
to
that
catch one each.
later.
Yeah.
Later.
That's fair. And then my favorite personal find here is Pikachu. I like electric types, so I like that you get a Pikachu here.
In the
Yeah,
old
I
days,
usually try and just rush through it. I rush through that area, try and get that Pikachu at the very end, and then just get out as fast as I can. I don't like to wheedle around in that area.
Heyo! Heyo!
Heyo!
in the old
hate
days,
myself.
I just felt like I had I just felt like it took me forever. I would just like, walk back and forth in the tall grass to just pray that I would get a Pikachu. And, I'm just so happy about Let's Go where I can just there you are. There you are.
It's so
Thank
beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm so happy about this.
It's so. Let's Go. If I haven't said already, I like grinding and the fighting and whatnot. So it's a little sad that it's the flick catch thing in Let's Go. But other than that, they are damn near perfect remakes of what remakes of games should be. They're marvelous. They come down to $30 every so often. Go grab it if you have a Switch. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do like how the character models on that one too,
They're
because
amazing. They're beautiful.
on the later ones, your character just looks so freaking happy all the time. On the newest ones, and it's like I don't want to be this stupid little smiling dick who is
Life
just,
is hard, you
tossing
little
stuff
shit.
out there. But in that, Red, as always, looks like a badass.
Life is hard, you little shit. You respect that, okay? You frown once in a while. God damn it.
And
That's all I have to say about the games for this one.
I think you just said Red, right? As the character's name.
In yellow, he is red.
This is a good segue
That's a good swing.
I think-
Jesse, take it away.
for the
Segment
manga.
time.
So, of course, in the manga, Red is the main character in
Right.
the American version. And Red is night and day different compared to Ash. If you haven't listened to other episodes where I've talked about this, Red is great. He starts with a fucking Poliwhirl, and in the very first issue, catches an Nidorino and has no problem catching Pokemon. In Viridian Forest, he meets Blue for the first time. Blue is the equivalent we know from the anime as Gary, Professor Oak's grandson. When Red encounters Blue, great names, Red, Blue, whatever.
Easy peasy.
Red has got his Charmander. Blue's got his Charmander, and he's trying to weaken a Kangaskhan that he desperately wants. Red just pops up trying to find a Weedle. Let me just very briefly share that picture. Host has disabled participant screen sharing. Good going.
That is some grade A horse shit. I have done no such thing.
There's a great moment where Red is stumbling through the forest trying to find a Caterpie that he lost because he's trying to catch it, which is somewhat like Ash, and
Yeah, there you go.
But he comes across Blue, who's using his Charmander to try to weaken a Kangaskhan, which is humongous in the manga. And Red notices, after having a little another pissing contest with Blue, that Kangaskhan seems to be acting strangely. And it's because Kangaskhan, as a lot of Kangaskhan's do, because a lot of them are female, is carrying its young in its pouch. And it has gotten poisoned by something in the Viridian Forest. So Red, being Red, says, "Oh, I know what to do." So he pulls out an antidote. Done. Little baby Kangaskhan is good to go. The mother's thankful, and they walk off. Blue is pissed because Red gets in the way of him catching a Kangaskhan, But basically, Blue ends it with, I'll see you in the future. We'll fight in the future. He's a little bit less of an ass than Gary Oak is, but not much less.
I know you guys couldn't see it, Jesse. I was able to share the screen in like the most pathetic way possible to share my picture. And if you watch the video later, it's going to look really stupid. But I did manage to get the picture up there. Kind of. Give it a kind of.
The Viridian Forest one?
Yeah. Yep. He's got...
so all I wanted to say about that one was just amused that you see Red there trying to find Caterpie, has no idea where it went, and his Poliwhirl is, thundering through the bushes.
Yeah.
That's it for Viridian Forest, though, in the
As one
manga.
does.
Hey, no, that's...
one does.
It's nice that it finally meshes up at all. To this point, it really hadn't meshed up at all with the show. So
Next
it's kinda
episode,
cool.
though. Next episode, it gets there. It goes for it.
Tremendous segue, Jesse. I don't know if you guys care. We're at like 2 or 3 minutes left of time. I say let's cut this episode. If you're watching on Twitch, if you're one of the two people, one of them's here right now. Ian's here right now, so maybe Neil's watching on Twitch. If you're one of the people watching on Twitch, we record back-to-back episodes every other week. For the rest of the world, we are on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Amazon Podcasts, Audible, and YouTube, and
We will
podcast.com.
have a social media presence. I swear. I was supposed to do that this week, and I failed. I have a new job. Things are hard. It's
Just-
Hey, there you
2020.
go.
I have a lot of excuses, okay? I will get to it.
We all have excuses, and I don't mind. We get 4 or 5 episodes in the bank, right? And then you start getting social media out there. Hopefully people listen back and see progress and see that we are morons, but we're morons that get better over time. And I think that
I
does
like
a lot
us.
for people's faith. I think we're great. And so I have no issue with that. We'll get some social media presence out there, start sharing these, and I'm very excited for that. In the meantime,
Yeah.
thanks for listening to PokéMalarkey episode 4. Ian, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to have you back right on this next episode. Again, if you're on Twitch, we do every other week, back-to-back episodes. Everywhere else, thanks for coming next week, Ian. Jesse, thank you. I'll talk to you momentarily. Ian,
God
same
bless.
story. Talk to you momentarily. This has been PokéMalarkey episode 4. Challenge of the Samurai or something like that.
Challenge of the Samurai.
Challenge of the Samurai.
Boom. All right. PokéMalarkey out.
Toodaloo.